Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and this video I'm going to talk about few important things if you're coming to Sweden for the first time, which will help you. I have already made these kind of videos previously in my channel, but those are in Hindi. People who watch me from south of India, I think they asked me that why don't you have subtitle in your videos, and you know what, it's pretty difficult to add subtitles. I'm the only one who is shooting the video, editing the video, so it's pretty tough. So I thought of making another video in English which will help you guys. And one more thing, the video that I have made about Sweden, like if you're coming for the first time, what are the things you need to consider, so that video was made I think 2 years back, and I don't think YouTube is recommending that video a lot nowadays. Keep watching, we'll be back. So now once you have reached Sweden, like Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, Lund or any other city in Sweden, the first thing that you need to do here is to apply your personal number. In India, for example, we have Aadhaar card, we have PAN card. In Sweden, this is called the social security number. So once you have your personal number, everything's going to be linked to your personal number. So as in, if you want to have a membership or you want to have your health insurance, by default health insurance that you get from Swedish government, so for that you need to have the personal number. So how do you apply it? Here the official tax agency in Sweden is called the Skatteverket. So you can go to any Skatteverket nearby your apartment or where you stay. You go there and you can say that I want to apply for personal number. They will just take your name, they will check your UT card and passport and everything, and then they will register you in Swedish population register. And once that is done, you have to give your biometrics for your Swedish identity card, so Swedish ID card. So once that is there, then everything is sorted. So that is the first thing that you need to do once you reach Sweden. So now the second important thing is bank. Opening a bank account in Sweden is very difficult. For us it was easy because I think that time queue was not that long, but nowadays I've heard from many people that it's pretty difficult to open a bank account, and without your personal number, Swedish ID card, banks are like rejecting all the applications. They don't entertain without these numbers. So once you have the numbers, then you can reach out to any banks. Like there are several banks in Sweden like SEB, Handelsbanken, Swedbank, Nordea. Plenty of banks are there, so you can reach out to any banks and ask them that I want to open a bank account. But if you don't have a personal number or Swedish ID card, then there are few banks. For my wife's case, for Nehal's case, we reached out to many banks like SEB, Swedbank, and then finally Handelsbanken allowed us to have a bank account without the personal number and Swedish ID card. But yeah, there are a lot of limitations. You cannot have a card. You can only have a bank account. Then the salary from your company will be credited to that account. But yeah, there is a lot of limitations. But at least you have your bank account open. So that is very important. If you don't have the personal number and Swedish ID card, they will not give you mobile bank ID. So there are two things. One is Swish and mobile bank ID. These are two of the very necessary apps you need to have in your mobile once you are in Sweden. So whenever you do a transaction or something, you have to have mobile bank ID installed in your mobile or tab. You have to put a security code there, and then the transaction happens. It's not only about doing a bank transaction or something. If you want to authenticate yourself, then you need to have that mobile bank ID. Basically, process of authorization, that it's you. Most of the people asked me that which SIM card should we go for. So there are several options like Leica Mobile, there is Comviq, there's Telenor, Tele2. As an Indian or as a foreigner, when I come here, obviously I look for the cheapest option. So when I came, I found like Leica Mobile was the cheapest one. If you do a transaction, like if you recharge your phone or something in the Leica Mobile app or website, then they take your card number. After many days, then I saw that my card was saved there. And when I asked them that, I don't want my card to be saved there, so they said that then you have to reach out to the customer service and they'll delete it. I mean, that's not That's not how it works. Even if I don't want my card to be saved, it should not be. But that was one thing I did not like about them. But the solution is you don't recharge through the app. Instead, you go to shops. So the most common shop where you can recharge is Pressbyrån. You'll find it most of the places, so it's not that difficult. So Leica Mobile, initially when I purchased, the SIM card was free, and I had to pay like 19 SEK for 1 month, where I had like 8 GB of data and unlimited local calls and 100 minutes of international calls. The thing is, if you have an international pack, even if you don't have internet, if you want to call your home, that would be helpful. I would say that if you travel to other countries from Sweden, there are countries where Leica Mobile doesn't work properly, but I never had any problem. Till now I am using Leica Mobile. But if you are coming here for work, especially IT work, then you get a phone. You'll have internet and call facility, but you cannot call outside Europe. But if you don't have a job or you don't get a phone, I think Leica is one of the cheapest options there in the market. But Comviq is also an option, but it's bit higher price. But in Telenor, Tele2, these are like bit expensive. So Leica. And the next thing is Unionen and Akasa. So what is that? I have already made a video about it, but again I'll just make it in English. So when you have a job in Sweden, in this situation, like nowadays people are getting fired from their job because of this war situation or corona, whatever. There are companies who are laying off their employees. So in that situation, one thing will help you is being a part of union and also being a part of the unemployment insurance. You have to be a member of union. When you lose your job or you have any problem in your company, then you can reach out to the union and they will help you. I'm not really sure to what extent they can help you, but yeah, I've heard that they will help you. If you part of a CASA, that is basically an unemployment insurance. When you lose your job, they will give you, for us, like for residence permit holders, they'll give you 3 months salary, 80% of your salary, but that will help you to at least sustain. But once again, one more important thing, in order to get that benefit, you have to give these fees. Like for Akasa I pay 140 and for Union and it's 240 or something. You have to pay these fees for 6 months and then only you'll be able to receive the benefit once you lose your job. So these are the two things that people ignore a lot because they think that why will I lose my job? But you never know about the situation. It's better to secure yourself. So now the next important thing is houses. Accommodation is very tough and it can be a little bit tricky sometimes because I have seen a lot of scams with a lot of people, also with me, but I was aware of all these things, so that's why I did not fall for this scam. But what happens is when you get your job, you start looking for apartments in Facebook or any other website. Like in Sweden, I want to come to Stockholm in August and I am looking for an apartment. Then somebody will see that message and then they will create an ad. By looking at the ad, you will feel like, okay, 5,000-6,000 I have to pay for a studio apartment, really nice, I'll just reach out to that person. And then you reach out to the person will be like super nice to you and he will talk to you, everything is sorted, you have to pay this money and all those scams. And then once you fall for it, they'll just take your money and delete the ad. So never fall for that. I will give you some good website where you can look for apartments. Like there's a website called blocket.bostad.sc. But again, I have seen scams in those websites as well. Nothing can be 100% sure, but yeah, it's better than getting scammed in Facebook. In Sweden, so there are two type of accommodation. One is first-hand contract, which I had, and then one is second-hand contract, where like if I own an apartment, I want to rent it out to someone, so that's called a second-hand apartment. And the first-hand contract is basically these big companies, they give you apartments at a cheaper price, but nowadays it has increased a lot, like 10-11 is like normal. But getting a first-hand contract with lower price, lower rent, like 5,000-6,000, it's pretty difficult. You have to be in the queue for a long period of time. Some of the common websites that you can register yourself for first-hand contract is like wilhelm.sc. So that is in Gothenburg. Like most of my friends who are in Gothenburg, they applied 1-2 years back and they got their first-hand contract. Home queue is another option. Home queue, when you get an apartment in home queue, the price can be a little bit higher side. Keep that in your mind. And there is another website in Stockholm. It's called bostad.stockholm.sc. I got my apartment from that website. And one more important thing is, like, there are new buildings getting built in Stockholm, but it's like far from the city. It's like maybe there's an area called Torby and there's some area called Upplandsbro. So these are a bit far from the city, but even if you get those apartments, I would suggest to rent that, because it's a first-hand contract. The price will be less, and then maybe later you can think of some other option. But if you want to stay in the city area, then it's pretty difficult to get a first-hand contract. Rather, you go for a second-hand contract where the rent is pretty high. Nowadays it has become very high. Like for a 60, 70 or 80 square meter apartment, you have to pay minimum 15,000-16,000 SEK. So that is there. And one more important thing that people miss out, I have already mentioned this a lot of times, that people ask me if I am coming with my dependent, the dependent visa. Is it allowed for a dependent to work in Sweden? Yes, it is. It is like considered as a work permit. So if you have a dependent who has a visa, then he or she can work here, no issues. And if she doesn't work, or if he doesn't work in India, then in Sweden, if you have a work permit, then you have the option to go for higher studies as well in multiple universities. You can look out for that as well. One of the most important thing that you need to have in your mobile is SL app if you are in Stockholm. If you are in Gothenburg, it's called To Go Vastrafik app. So it's basically the transport app which we use for public transport. Suppose you want to go from this place to that, then you can just put down the name of the locations and it will give you the direction. It will give you the which tram or which bus you need to take. And also you can buy tickets in those apps, but you have two options. Either you can pay through Swish, or you can have your normal credit card or debit card there. So yeah, bye. So these are the few things I wanted to talk about, but yes, there are a lot of other things which I could have talked about, but in a 10-12 minutes video it's pretty difficult to talk about all the things about Sweden. Maybe later you can just check out other videos in my channel in which I have spoken about other things which will help you if you are in Sweden. Apart from that, I also want to guide you, or I want to make you aware of few things that you will see here in Stockholm or Sweden. So there are so many escalators in Stockholm. If you live in Stockholm, you'll understand you have to travel through metros. So for going to metro, you have to like go through those escalator. And and I was a bit surprised when I came here. Everyone who is not walking on the escalator, they're like in the right side of the escalator, and who wants to walk, the left side is free. And if you are like on the left side of the, suppose you are two persons and one is in the right and someone is in the left, and you guys are like standing there, if some Swedes or some other people are there behind you, they will never ever tell you that excuse me, just side. They'll just stand there. It's better to be on the right side of the escalator, let the left part free so that people can travel. That's one important thing. And the second thing, in Sweden people follow queue. So it's pretty obvious that if you are in a line, you will not break that line to go and to just go to the front and just request someone to, I want to be here. That doesn't work here. Yeah, sometimes that works, but most of the time they're like quite okay to stand in a queue for like 1 hour, 2 hours. So that is one thing you have to keep in your mind. Another thing I want to tell you, that if you are traveling in a public transport, I have not seen people talking on a phone very loudly. I think whenever I have done that, people have given me weird stares. So avoid that thing. If you are traveling in a metro or a bus, try to speak hello. हाँ मैं ठीक हूँ. Okay, I'm fine. I'll just call you after some time. Okay. So if you do, hello, हाँ क्या चल रहा है भाई? हाँ बढ़िया. So that thing doesn't work. So it's better to have the conversation once you get out of the train or bus. So I think that's it from this video. If you If you really think that this video will help someone who is coming to Sweden, then please do share and also subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.